Acumatica Cloud ERP. Prepayment improvements related to purchase orders. A prepayment is made when a selling company receives payment from a buyer before the seller has shipped goods or provided services to the buyer. Acumatica customers may want to use prepayments when a buyer wants preferred treatment for an order, the seller refuses to extend credit to a buyer, or the buyer is on the cash basis of accounting and wants to record an expense early by paying early. Acumatica has made several improvements for prepayments to vendors. These new features will improve productivity of users when prepayments are required. They will allow users to control the document flow of prepayments during the buying process. They will provide better visibility of prepayments for accountants and buyers, and also provide users the ability to specify the fixed percentage of a prepayment on vendors, items, and purchase orders. To demonstrate these new capabilities, let's first navigate to the purchase orders form. I placed an order for 100 laptop computers from the go-to vendor. The vendor requested that I pay 10% when I placed the purchase order, 10% in 30 days, and then the remainder of the balance once the items have shipped. I have already made my first installment of $2,500 when I placed the purchase order. I know this because if I look at the purchase order line, it shows the prepaid quantity and the prepaid amount for this line. I can also go to the New Prepayments tab to view all prepayments, and if I click on Other Information, I can see unbilled prepayment totals. To add another prepayment, I click on Actions, Create Prepayment Request. This will allow me to add as many prepayments as needed on a purchase order. Once I release this prepayment, I can now go back to the purchase order and see that my totals on my line have been updated. The Prepayments tab now lists the second prepayment on this purchase order, and the Other Information tab now includes the additional prepayments in the unbilled prepayments total. Next, I will open up the Checks and Payments form. It is now possible to apply a prepayment check directly to the purchase order. The type selected is prepayment, and I will add the previous prepayments of $5,000 to the documents to apply. If I add the prepayment request to the Documents tab, the related purchase order is automatically added to the New Orders to Apply tab. Notice that Linked to Prepayment checkbox is selected in the line, and Linked Prepayment Request Number is reflected in the reference number column. By clicking Actions, Print Check, I can select all prepayments that I want to pay with this check and click Process. The check remittance form shows the outstanding balance of the prepayment and any related purchase orders. I can also create prepayments for multiple POs from this form. Let's say that I have decided to make an additional prepayment for the prior purchase order. When the type of prepayment is selected, the new tab, Orders to Apply, appears. If I click Load Orders, a modal window appears where I can search for a specific order by date or order number. If I leave it blank, I get all the orders for this vendor. From here, I can set my prepayment amount by PO and print the check. Now, if we circle back around to the original PO, if I look at the Prepayments tab, I can see all of the prepayments for this order. When I go to the Other Information tab, I can see the total of all prepayments with the unpaid amount for this purchase order. If prepayment amounts have been negotiated with the vendor, we now have the ability to set a prepayment percentage that will default on the Bills and Adjustments form. The percentages can be set by purchase order, item, or vendor. The hierarchy to retrieve this information is first, it looks at the vendor. If nothing is there, it will get this information from items, and finally, if nothing is found on items, it will look to the vendor. By default, prepayment percent for a vendor is set to 100%. Prepayment percent for items and newly created purchase orders is set to null. Limitations for prepayments are listed here on this slide. Thank you for joining me today for this overview demonstration on prepayment enhancements for purchase orders in Acumatica Cloud ERP. For more information about Acumatica, contact an Acumatica reseller or view documentation on help.acumatica.com.